Greetings, greetings, wonderful, wonderful star of the universe for tuning in right now. You have passed the test. You have passed the test. I'm not sure if you even knew that it was a test, right? All tests get graded, right? They have an ending. Sometimes in our lives, and this could have been true for you, you might have thought that this didn't have an end, right? Like you would always have to struggle in this particular way. And when I say struggle, let me qualify that a bit. So the person who I'm tuning into is a person who you're not like regular people. You're not like the, as they say, the regular degular, where like you challenge things, you challenge authority. You may challenge people at work, not trying to be negative, but just being honest. And that just happens to be a challenge to people, right? Who want to keep people boxed in. And that's the person I'm tuning into, right? So there was a situation in your life, there is a situation in your life where, it's just you, like it's just regular for you. But to other people, it might seem like you're being challenging. But you thought that this wouldn't have an end, like you would have to continue to be in this situation. But the message today is that you are going on easier street. Okay, I won't say easy street, but easier street, right? You have passed the test. Like you're like 2/3 of the way through, and then that other 1/3 is just like coasting. Okay, I want you to picture Sha'Carri Richardson. I want you to picture, any of the other Usain Bolt, right? Any of the other, racers or runners that are really fast, right? You can even picture a horse race, but picture, this kind of, again, that word kind of struggle is there. So I'll kind of, I'll be true to that. But, the struggle or this challenge, just kind of going through the race, trudging through, right? You got other people there, but you're good. So you're not, you're not afraid, right? You're just doing your thing, right? But there are some formidable, people, and there's some turns and bends, and you're just like used to it, right? You're used to the turns and the bends and all that, right? But you've been conditioned for it, but you thought it would have to be a regular thing. You didn't realize that the 1/3 of the way left that you had, it was going to be so easy. That's what's coming through. You thought that the whole time like you would have to struggle or kind of trudge through, if you will, even though you felt as if you were doing well, right? But you were getting other resistance. This is what I'm saying. But you thought that you had to do that the entire way through. Okay, picture Sha'Carri, right? Picture, her just, was it Jackie Joyner Kersee, right? Back in the day, going through and some other great, runners, beside them and things like that. But that 1/3 of the way is clear. All you see is the finish line. There is no one in front of you. There is no one in front of you. That's what's coming through. You thought that the whole race was going to be, a struggle, if you will. But you passed the test. You passed it. And now you're going to start to see the fruits of your labors, okay? The fruits of your labors. You're going to see that it was all worth it, and that It was just temporary. Like the universe is not just trying to put you through stress like for no reason. Like, oh, I just have to go through this, every day. It's just what I do. It's fine. It's fine. But there is some let up. Okay. We need to understand, as people who live inside of the universe, right? That the universe is merciful. And what is coming through is that because of your discipline, because of your stick-to-itiveness, okay, because of your resistance, that yes, some people don't like, some of them didn't like it. That's okay. Because of that, because you stayed your ground respectfully, you passed a certain point where now you're not going to feel as much or really any resistance in that particular area at all, period. Now you just have to keep up the pace. Now you just have to keep up the momentum. But as far as like the back and forth, and whether it's not having enough time to be here, but you have to be here, you want to be here, but whatever it is, whatever it was, you showed the universe, okay, I can trust him. Okay, I could trust her. How about, okay, she could trust herself. She's not beyond, asking the difficult questions, doing the difficult things. And so now she will be rewarded. Now he will be rewarded for that. You've passed the test. Now, you may not see everything that's coming up around the bend, if you will, right? That finish line is there. There's nobody else in front of you, or even really beside you anymore. Of course, you have support, but I mean, as an opponent, right? No one else around like that anymore. So you may not see everything that is coming around the bend, but just know that there is no more opposition in this area. You've the phrase critical mass. I'm not sure if I'm using it in the correct term. I would have to look that up. But that's what's, you just passed a critical point where now it's like, okay, they've proven it. They have proven it. And now is the reward. The reward in this situation is just basically a continuation and finishing out of the path that you were on, but without the interference, right, from the naysayers or things like that you thought that you would continuously have to deal with. That's the reward in it. Okay, you already know that you're a person who chooses the path, the road less traveled, right? That's a book. So if you have either never heard of that book, look it up. Maybe it's online, you can listen to it, but that is something that came through, the road less traveled. So please look that up because that's a message for you. So you are a person who generally, you pick the road less traveled. Like that's what you do. But what the universe is saying to you right now, okay, is the first shall be last and the last is first. So the road less traveled, at least for you right now, is going to become the road of freedom. The road that a lot of people gave resistance to, but that for you at this time is not going to be filled with briars and thorns and all of that, right? You've cleared a critical part of the race and you are ready to shine, right? Not only ready to shine, but you're just ready to finish it out with peace, in peace. That's what's coming through too. In peace. In peace. And I know, I know you're looking forward to that. This deck is the Affirmators deck. I really like this. I utilized this in a reading before this. Actually, the reading that I'm doing right now, this message that's coming through, you passed the test, was first. It came to me first, really strongly in the past day or so. But for some reason, the other message just needed to be recorded first. So I uploaded that one before this, but this one just had to definitely get out. So, but anyway, the affirmators deck is what we're going to be using. And I'm going to shuffle. As you can see, it's already starting with some upside down cards, which is fine. It just all depends on the way you shuffle. The way, you know, I do read the reversal. So if I shuffle like this, in this way, I am going to get some reversals, but that's fine. They will still apply. It just means that that particular card, if it comes out, is going to just take a little bit longer to show or to show up. But it is there, right? All the energies are there, whatever comes out, okay? So let me do a split deck shuffle again. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm kind of turning away from the cards right now. I'm not looking at them, and I'll pick what resonates. Pick what resonates. Usually after I shuffle, I do the top. I feel 4 today. I feel 4. Okay, I see. They're all face up. So that means all these energies are coming to you just like that horse. Well, you know, it's a unicorn, but the unicorn is still a horse, right? Okay. All right. So let's go. Okay. Just making sure everything is still in frame here. Okay. Ultimate potential. Ultimate potential. I choose to live a life of my fullest potential. So that's what was coming through a little bit before in terms of the choices that you were making, like when I was talking about struggle and things like this. So part of the quote struggle for you in the situation was, remember I said like you want to be here, but you have to be here type of thing. But so when I was kind of meditating on this word before I started, there was a phrase that came up, survival land. That was coming up, right? So just imagine that over here is survival land, right? The thing that you have to do, right? Working the job, you know, you don't necessarily like because it, quote, pays the bills, right? But it may not be something that you necessarily love. That's survival land. But you've passed a point where, not that you won't have to live in survival land, if you will. That may be another video, but it's just that survival land, right, and doing the things you need to do to survive is not going to keep you from this other opportunity, the one where you passed the test, the one where you know, gave the resistance, you asked the questions and things like that, and you know, gave the challenges to the system, if you will, to the point where you thought you would always have to keep choosing between these two. The one where you preferred to be is going to get easier. Okay, that's the message that's coming through. So survival land may be there for, you know, a little bit longer, but it's fading out. Its power of survival land is fading out, and you're going to be living a life of a more full potential. This says fullest, so I mean, you can't get better than that. Okay, full less potential. I don't know if you have anything to do with music, because the little giraffe here is listening to headphones, but you could be a musician or something like that. So that's coming through with the music. So you are living a life of your fullest potential. And this is what you chose. The word choose is really standing out. You chose this, because of your, I want to say faith, but faith is action. Faith is an action, Yeah, you're continuing on that, other path, but, because you've just passed that point, now you're going to be moving into your fullest potential. Absolutely. I trust that this will draw me towards experiences and people that support my growth and accomplishment, right? So you're growing, you're going to accomplish more, and these accomplishments are going to show. Tuning into this frequency. So again, we have the bringing it into the frequency, the headphones and things like that. So this is a reminder to listen to your affirmations, and what you're listening to, make sure that it is something that you would like to create more of. Okay, so this is the time to tune out of any worrisome stuff. It's now time for learning. Okay, the skills that you need to hone in your desired reality, and tuning into more positive things. Okay, and again, if you do music, doing more of that. Okay, so tuning into this frequency, I now reach higher heights than I ever thought possible. So remember I was talking about the struggle, and you thought that you just had to, just go the whole way, just going through this and that. Well, no, it says, you never even thought this was possible, like to just have like ease in this way. But the universe is telling you, you don't have to continuously struggle right now. You're going into this right now. Keep tuning in, though. Keep tuning into the frequency. And this is going to be you. Looking at the little giraffe in the clouds, right? Like, when people talk about manifestation and all of that, right? They say that the people who are the most successful are the ones who live in delusion, right? So I can see you in the best way, right? In delusion land, right? You're tuning into your positivity, your positive frequency. Okay? You can even make your own affirmations. And if you're not doing that, look into that, okay? Tune into your own frequency. Release someone's frequency that's very positive, okay? So you can reach higher heights than you ever thought was possible. There are a lot of people who really think that part of humanity is struggle. And that's what's really coming through, even in the original, thought from this, is that no, you've passed a point where, where there was struggle. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that your mind did not even conceive, your life did not have to include this particular struggle, if you will, right? There's always something for humanity to learn, but it doesn't have to be learned through struggle. But it's almost like there's this dawning on you, and if not, it'll be soon, that like, OMG, like I don't have to struggle right now. Like, really? This is really different, like, than, my childhood story. This is really different than some stories I read, like, in the Bible, or that, I learned in church. Like, I thought I had to struggle. I thought that was just part of humanity. It doesn't have to be. Okay? Knowing that's an option, why would I ever have tuned into anything else. So let's go back. Tuning into this frequency, I now reach higher heights than I ever thought possible. See, now you know it's possible. Knowing that's an option, you never have to tune into any negative frequency again. You do not have to tune into struggle again. That is not your story. That is not your story anymore. Okay? It says, I'm looking at you, smooth jazz and talk radio. Okay, so tune into some jazz and just get into that vibe. You're not right. Think about how smooth, nice jazz music is, right? That's the vibe you're going to be like finishing this particular, it could be a task, something that you really thought that was going to kind of get you. But no. You gave the right amount of resistance, and now the universe said, okay, now I have to show that I am merciful to my child, to let them know that there's another option. And struggle does not have to be in their story anymore. Wow, I'm excited. All the cards are upright, so this is awesome. Awesome. Whoa. Joyville. Welcome to look at the picture. I know I'm probably putting the card up. Editing me is probably gonna put the card up so you can see it. That's you at the finish line. OMG. But here's the thing. You've passed that 2/3 of the situation that was giving you the most, static and resistance. Now you're in Joyville now. You're coasting. You're coasting to Joyville. It's like the path up to Joyville is Joyville. Do you understand? And that's you at the finish line. Yay! I won, but you already won. And there you are, a star. A star of your own show. Look at you in Joyville. Wow, I love it. Okay. It says no judgment. I release myself from any and all judgments. I find my inner critic, call it into my office, and tell it to take a vacation. I release myself from any and all judgments. This is making me think of your past. And this is not to say like, oh, we can do any and everything in the universe and there's no right and there's no wrong. Like, I don't necessarily advocate that, right? We learn, what's the saying? We listen and we don't judge, right? We can judge or we can say, hey, look, this is quote right or this is wrong. This is not for me. This is, this is high vibration. This is low vibration, without being super critical of the person doing the thing, right? Without forgetting that the person doing the thing is God, right? That they are divine. So that's what this is saying to me. But in your childhood and struggle, and you are being released from that previous struggle that you were so used to, and you thought that, you just had to endure. You're in Joyville now, baby. You have passed the test. Like, when you, watch people on social media, it's all on social media, right? And you might scroll past the person who's, I don't know, the millionaire, or the person who has a successful business, the person who's financially free, the person who is in the one relationship, whatever it is, right? And you might say, oh, that's for them. You're coming into this Joyville where you are crossing the threshold, and you're going to be one of those people, right? Not necessarily people are going to look at it and say, oh, I wish that was me. Like, people aren't going to feel bad about this. It's just, you are now in the new story. You're on your way coasting to the new story. Okay? The finish line is not just to like another test. Like, this is a huge milestone that you've passed. right? So the judgments of your childhood, it's like you're writing a new story for yourself and your family. Like, I don't know if you've heard this before, where some people say, like in the metaphysical communities, they say, like, when you change one thing in the present, you can also change the past. That's what it's giving. You know, whether that's like actual or not, or it's just the way our thoughts think about it, or, you know, or it could be. That's what it's giving. In changing the story, you're going to be changing even how you look at your past. So you're going to find the inner critic and put it on a vacation. What a great way to deal with the inner critic, right? They didn't do anything negative to the inner critic. They just said, just go on vacation, just chill out. As it leaves, right, the room, the critic, whoa, and that's the release. You're going to let out this release and begin to enjoy the joy of simply being. Confirmation, you passed the test. Like, now it's time to just let out the whew. Okay, the woosah. It says, who hired this guy anyway? Who hired that guy anyway? You might be getting a new job. Or if you're not into like the job thing, even though everything's a job, right? Even though your own business is a job, you might be, you know, doing your entrepreneur thing or doing that in a bigger way. Okay, because there's the hiring there. So, wow, that's awesome. I'm loving it. That's you at the finish line. Okay. All right. I'm excited. Communication. Wonder how that other person is feeling. Oh, this is a bonus card. Ask them. Wish they knew how you were feeling. Tell them. You've just been drafted into the communication army, where there is a strict do ask, do tell policy. Speak with kindness and gentleness and reach an understanding. If you don't, assumption will just make fools of everyone, including the person who came up with that aphorism. So your communication could be getting better. Part of the reason why you pass this test is your communication. Your communication is already good. Okay. But what is jumping out right now is that your communication with the universe is gonna get much better. So you could have been praying, you could have been, again, just thinking that this situation was just wasn't going to let up or whatever, or could have possibly gotten worse. And then as soon as you thought that, boom, it just went all the way back to no resistance, right? After you passed the test. But you are now going to see a working relationship between you and the universe. Where the universe, like when you say certain things, when you listen to certain things, when you tune into that frequency, you're going to see a direct response from the universe communicating with you. And so do more direct speaking to the universe. Do ask, do tell. It's funny because I wasn't going to say this earlier in terms of the affirmations and listening to. I just didn't want to draw it out, but anyway, it's here, so I'm going to bring it up. There's something called affirmations or affirmations, AFFOR, mations. Start doing those. Okay, if you don't already, or if you do them more. They are very, very, very powerful. Okay, this is going to show you and increase your direct communication with the universe, right? So an affirmation would be, Why am I so, right? You fill in the blank. Why am I so healthy right now, right? So whatever your goal is, a specific weight that you want to weigh, a specific look that you want to have, you'll say, why, am I, or why do I weigh such and such pounds? Why do I earn, $10,000 every single month? Why is it that I earn $10,000 every single month? Why? And what's going to happen, without me going into the whole thing about that, is the universe is going to communicate with you the reason why. So this is great because it's a bonus card. It's funny this is bonus because I usually pick 3, or at least in the previous reading I picked 3, but I said I want to do 4, and this is the bonus card. Interesting. So anyway, this is a bonus because it's a technique on how you can stay on that path, okay, to Joyville. So you don't have to waver because you're already there. You've already, no matter what you do right now, I mean, generally speaking, like, the dam, if you will, has already broken, right? Like, in a good way, though. It's whatever that resistance was that you just kept having to, and thinking that it was normal and you just had to keep going through it. That has already, given way to an easier life for you, particularly in this particular area. And we know how one thing leads to another, right? So usually if one particular area lets up, it frees up time, it frees up resources, so that other areas, it's like a domino effect, right? Things just start getting better and better. But anyhow, so yes, start doing your ask affirmations. You're framing it as a question, but it's actually a statement. It's actually something that you're telling the universe to go out and do. Why am I a millionaire right now? Right? Why is this person being so nice to me right now? Right? This could be a person that, might not have the best track record with. Just change it if that's what you want to do. Why is such and such being so nice to me right now? And what you can do is write a list if you want, maybe like 10 things that are really important to you, and read them like every day. You can read them once a day. You can do it more, but read them in a form of ask affirmation and watch what happens. All right. Come tell me in the comments how your ask affirmations went. Okay. So yes, this is also about your communication, but again, your communication is already good. Great, actually. But your communication with the universe and the universe's communication with you is going to show you that, baby, I have been there all along with you. Okay? Love that. Wow. Okay. All right. And one more. You passed the test. Oh, generosity. Okay, so this goes with the universe one. The universe is about to be very generous to you. You are about to see the universe's generosity. Okay? Like, this is not just potentiality. It started in the beginning as potential, but once you do your ask affirmations and stay on a certain vibrational frequency, this becomes real. Okay, of course we know when it's in the mind, it's real, but it becomes 3D, right? When you stay on that path, it starts to formalize. So you are about to see the universe's generosity to you. Okay? So as you do your ask affirmations to the universe is going to be reciprocating to you. So that's that little portion that we give back to the universe, our thanks, our gratefulness. Oh, but you're about to see this large, infinite universe just be generous to you. Okay? Get ready. Because I mean, what happens after you pass the test? You get rewarded with the grade, the A plus, you know? Maybe a little party. Do you have a party coming up? All right, I'm thinking friends. Oh, cool. That's in the atmosphere as well. That's cool. Okay, so I give generously to those around me. So the universe is going to be giving generously to you. It says no matter how much or how little I have. So no matter how, quote, little you feel that you are giving to the universe, if you will, right? Or how insignificant you know your desire might be. No. It's very important to the universe. It's very important to source, to give back to you and to show you who you are, that you are a divine being who belongs here. Remember, all we have to do is give a little, right? Doesn't say that in the Bible? Faith of what? Of a mustard seed. That's all you need. But faith is continuous. Faith is not just here and then that's it, right? So it's that continuous mustard seed that you had that caused you to get to Joyville. And it's going to cause the universe itself to show you, oh, okay, you do that, quote, little for me. Watch the avalanche of generosity because of your faithfulness that I'm going to give to you. This is what the universe is saying to you right now. And the universe has more than enough to go around, right? So every desire that you have that needs to be fulfilled, the universe is going to fill it to the top. I almost want to pull one more card. The universe is going to fill it to the top. And the key is to allow it to keep going around without stopping. Wow. Wow. Come on now. Confirmation. This is going to keep going. Listen. You are in a different area of life right now. It's not going back to the old. You've passed it. It says this is going to keep going around without stopping. You've passed this. That old, energy. Nothing wrong with old, no disrespect to anything that's old. You understand what I'm saying, right? Things that no longer apply. Right? Things that are lower vibration. You're not going back to that. You're on a different frequency. You got to stay on that frequency though. But you already are. Like it's a part of you now. Okay, so it says, if I stop the flow, I'm like the one person at the stadium who doesn't do the wave. Keep the flow going, but it's almost as if you couldn't, stop the flow, even if you wanted to in a way. Okay, so keep doing your affirmations. Stay in this positive vibe. Okay, so when people, if they come to you with their ho hum stories, or oh, I just heard this in the news, I heard you can be respectful and things like that, but you gotta know how and when to tune it out. Tune it out most of the time. Okay, if it's anything big, you'll know what's happening. Okay, but tune out the other stuff, get into that higher frequency, and enjoy your Joyville. You have passed the test. Look at that. So I think I'll leave it there. Enjoy. Peace and love. Tell me how it resonated in the comments. Peace.